Hey there, it's Tammy. It's all about the dogs.
Noelle with Positive Directions Canine Academy.
And today we're talking about top 5 rules for training your dog, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So when you start training your dog, there's some things you need to be keeping in mind.
Yes. So first one is that you need to be consistent. So be consistent with your commands. For example, a word that gets used too much is the word down.
On everything. And
Everything.
You know what? I really had a hard time with family members and people that aren't familiar with training dogs, friends, that they say down for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, no, that means if they're climbing up on you, that is not down.
Right.
Down means to lay down on the ground.
Right.
That is off. That's a completely different word.
Right.
So being consistent so they don't get confused.
Right. And it doesn't matter what words you use. You can use another language. You can use colors. You can do whatever you want to when you're giving commands to your dog. The most important thing is that those commands are consistent within their family group.
Yes. And do not say sit down.
Right. It is not sit down. It's not sit and lay down. It's sit.
Sit.
It's not down for jumping up. It's off.
Right.
And down means lay down on the floor. So dogs don't come with language capabilities. They don't understand Chinese, Japanese, Italian, English,
But
any of it.
they associate the sound of the word with an action.
Yes.
So if you say sit down and those are two separate commands, they're like,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
what do you want?
Yep.
Pick
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
And that may be why your dog stands there and stares at you
Uh-huh.
because, and then you're like, sit, 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 and I know that you hate that more
Yeah.
than anything.
I really hate it when somebody throws a barrage of commands. Sit, 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 sit. Yeah. So that brings me to the next one, which is follow through. If your dog can't, won't, doesn't understand, step in and help them be successful so that they understand what you are asking of them. It's not really fair to say blibe to you because you don't have a clue what it means.
Right.
But if every time you got out of your chair I pushed you back into it, eventually you'd realize that blibe means don't move.
Don't
right?
move. Yeah.
Exactly. So dogs have to associate a spoken word with a command about 500 times before they really start to figure it out. So when you tell your dog to sit, if they don't sit, step in and help them sit so that they can be successful at it.
Well, and that goes in hand with not repeating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I know the very first thing that you teach in one of your classes is when you teach your dog, this is the command, don't sit there and just say it over and over and over and over again.
Right.
You're not
Right.
doing it, that's not doing anything.
It's not doing you
for
any
them.
good. And if you tell your dog to sit and they lay down and you're like, well, they're in a
Okay,
position,
whatever.
you're really telling the dog that what you say doesn't really matter and they can choose to do whatever they want to in the moment. And so it's really important if you've given your dog a command that you help your dog be successful with it. Like in my Manners 1 class, I teach you 3 ways to follow through so that your dog can be successful.
Yeah.
And I don't mean manhandle and I don't mean force. I mean show the dog how to be in those positions.
Well, and that comes to the next point, to facilitate a predictable
Mhm.
behavior. And so you want them, if you want to associate a behavior with a word,
Mhm.
that's something that you have to work on in conjunction with each other and to
Exactly.
make them feel like they're doing what you want.
Right. And one of the biggest commands that you can facilitate an outcome is come. Put your dog on a long line and let them get distracted and then call them. And if they don't, reel them in like a fish if you have to.
There you go.
But now you've got the dog on the ability to be predictable with that behavior. It's not fair to the dog to assume that they're going to come to you and you turn them loose and then they don't, and now you're frustrated and mad at the dog because they're running around like a crazy man
when you haven't taught them.
when you haven't taught
Yeah,
them what that
exactly.
really means.
Exactly.
So until you've got a predictable, reliable behavior, you don't want to set your dog up to fail. We want to set them up to succeed. So do whatever you need to do to help your dog be successful within those parameters.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and something then that goes along with it, you mentioned exposing your dog to different situations. And I know you have some CGC classes,
Mhm.
the urban dog class that
Mhm.
you can take, where you take them out to a variety of public situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do some training exercises, right?
Yes.
In those
yes.
in those situations to
Yes.
get your dog used to
Mm-hmm.
being somewhere out.
Yes. Dogs are what they call situational learners, and what that means is your dog has to be put in multiple situations for them to understand that that behavior applies everywhere that they go. For example, you can't train your dog just at home and expect that to transfer at the vet's office. It just simply doesn't.
No.
Your dog does not think that way. And it is unfair of us to think that they do.
Right.
So we have to work within their abilities, not necessarily within what we think they're capable of.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
So places that you can go with your dog would be obedience classes. You're in a secure, controlled environment where your dog learns how to behave around other people and dogs. Some other great opportunities would be places around town that are dog friendly.
lots
So-
of hardware stores are dog friendly.
Lots of hardware
Most of
stores.
them are actually in this town. I don't think of, you've got Lowe's and Home Depot and Ace and True Value. They all love to see dogs come in, and I think Harbor Freight does too across the street.
Yeah, we
So-
take the puppies to Murdoch's for a field
Mhm.
trip, and Murdoch's has been really great about opening up their facility to us and letting the dogs come through, and we practice things like greeting strangers, being polite about
They
staying on the
love
floor.
that. Most of the employees really like it when
Mhm.
people bring in their dogs
Yep,
to
yep,
those places. And there's even, I've read that some Hobby Lobbies,
Mhm.
places like that are also pet friendly, so
Mhm.
you can bring in a well-behaved dog.
right.
And then there's also outdoor restaurant
Mhm.
types of places, like
Yep.
the bagel shop on Main Street and
Yep,
Spoons. So if you're in an area where you might have the opportunity to do that, that's a
Mhm.
good thing to go out to lunch and take your dog.
yep.
Sit on the patio.
Yep. Go sit
Yeah.
on the patio. Sonic is a great place. I like to go take my dogs and we sit out on the patio, and if people want to come up and say hi, then I can control my dog and let them say hi.
McAllister's is another one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So the more places your dog frequents, especially during that important first year, the more well balanced and adjusted they are as an adult. The little things in life don't scare them quite so bad.
Well, and like Lucy back here, sometimes, especially in her younger days, she would get so excited. And the more you take them to places like that on a regular basis, the less that'll decrease.
Mhm.
They won't be so freaked out, and you'll be able to enjoy being out there with them.
Right.
So that goes along with the being consistent.
Right. So let's say you've got a dog that's just hardwired and they just get so amped up and excited. Pull into the parking lot and sit in your car until they're calm, and then try coming inside.
Yeah.
Or if your dog never calms down, sit there for 5-10 minutes and then leave. So you don't reward the dog for that behavior by letting them get out and be out of control inside the facility. So sometimes it's just a matter of sitting there and waiting a good 5-10 minutes, fiddle on your phone while you're waiting for your dog to calm down.
Well, and don't give up taking
Don't
them
give up.
places. Because, and I've been guilty of that in a lot of ways with Lucy, because she would get so crazed
Mm-hmm.
that it was hard for me to take her places. But then the more that I did take her places, that toned down quite a bit, because she got used to, like, oh, okay, I'm all right.
Mhm.
She might be excited initially, but then she got calmer as we were there.
Yes.
So if you give up on doing that and you're not consistent in how you do that and what you do while you're there,
Mm-hmm.
then they can. Don't give up. Just if
Yes.
you have issues, call Noelle. Well, that's what I do. Noelle. Oh my God. So those are our 5 top tips for training your dog.
Yeah. So it's really not that difficult. Another really good thing to do, so I'm giving you a secret tip here.
Oh, this is a bonus.
Yeah, a little bonus tip. After you've worked with your dog, put them in a crate or a quiet room and let them relax for 30 minutes to an hour.
A lot of them need to decompress.
They need to decompress, and they'll remember more of what you taught them, and they'll be more excited to come out and learn with you next time.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good to know.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. Subscribe to our channel. We'd love to see you back. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.